I'm all for the early detection because, you know, when it's too late, it's too late. And a lot of these women, I'm fortunate because I had a very slow growing tumor. When you don't have ragged edges, which I didn't, they were tubular and very slow growing, and they can't grab into the tissue and grow. So because mine was so round, they thought it was a cyst, and it was very slow growing, and I was blessed in that respect. But say it wasn't, you know, then of course I guess they would have detected that on a mammogram, but they wouldn't by feeling it,
Right.
because they would have thought, you know, it's nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
So then, because of your experience, how do you feel about routine mammograms?
I
From early on or later in life?
Well,
When
I
do you
think now they recommend 40,
Yeah.
don't they? And I think before 40, most women, it's the inflammatory. It might be the triple negative, which are more invasive cancers, and they can, you know, they might be able to feel those pretty quick. Um, but you know, if they're talking about not doing mammograms at 40, I think that's nuts, because that's kind of your high risk, high estrogen time. That's your most common cancer. And I think if digital, which has less, you know, I don't know, negativity on your body, I guess, less X-rays or rays or whatever it is, however they do it, it's safer. You know, if you can do those, you know, I would think you can minimize your exposure better than the old type of X-rays. But I don't know. I'm not, you know, I'm not into all those specifics. But I just think it's frightening not to do it, and it worries me that it's an insurance thing.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. How would you react if policymakers for insurance
Yeah.
decided to extend the age and say, oh, you can't be covered until you're 60 and up or something?
Well, you know, I think we're doing so well with cancer because we have such good ways to detect it early, and I think they're pretty much saying we're going to take that away. You know, I think if you want to have a mammogram and you're willing to take the risk and it's peace of mind for you, I think insurance should pay for it. And it should be, you know, I mean, you should be able to get it, and it should be a preventative type of thing. If you don't want it, I don't think you should be forced to have it, you know, which I don't think you are now. So I just feel like, you know, insurance companies are getting an awful lot of power in deciding who's going to get what. And I think right now, we didn't used to get mammograms, and then now we're exposed so much to so many carcinogens in our environment that weren't there before. You know, cancer is on the rise, so it doesn't make sense to me to stop doing things that we hadn't done before that didn't work. So, you know,
Yeah.
yeah. So I guess that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
You know, I'm someone that didn't feel that even at 1.5 centimeters. So the only reason they caught it, and he said it was really lucky to catch it because it's kind of on the edge, so it's almost out of the mammogram area. And you know, I was really fortunate that they caught the change there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
So, as far as where you stand, do you think the benefits outweigh the risks?
Oh, yes, I do. I do. Now, I know there is a risk to that. There's a risk to everything, but you know, I just think that, you know, as they find better ways to detect this early, I think they just constantly have to look for less invasive ways to hurt our bodies. and
Yeah.
and they've gone from, you know, a heavy X-ray to a digital X-ray now, which is less invasive, and maybe they can work on, you know, doing more. I know, you know, MRIs don't emit, you know, radiation, but they pick up everything. So then they don't really know what's bad and what's not. So I don't know. You know, I'm not an expert, but I would think that, you know, these brains of tomorrow can keep striving to find ways of treatment that are not more negative to our bodies than we need, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, as I guess one closing question, then I guess what would you say, kind of as a word to the wise kind of thing, to younger women if they
Mhm.
think, oh, maybe I should opt out of
Mhm.
routine mammograms because of this study?
Yeah. Yeah. Um, you know, the cancer word is scary, you know, and the uncertainty is scary. And, you know, I remember I would always, and now it'll be even more so, I would always, you know my mammogram was coming up. I'd always like worry while they're back there reading my mammogram whether I was going to get to go or not. But that's just a few minutes. You know, if you have, if, there's the example of the newswoman. What was her name? I'm trying to think. And she didn't go for a year and a half, 2 years, and she had to have a double mastectomy. Of course, it was in her lymph nodes by then too. There's someone young, didn't go after 40 to get her mammograms, and it is life impacting. Your life is never the same.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can save somebody from that early, so they have 0 grade, you take it out, then that's worth it to me, So, but I do think they need to constantly strive to make everything safer.
Yeah,